Welcome to Football with Cheese. In this video, we're going to go over the offseason of the Houston Texans. We're continuing the recap as we're doing the AFC South now. If you have not subscribed, please do so now. Enable alerts so you never miss a video. Houston Texans finished 10-7 and were division winners. Each of the last 2 years, they got a home playoff game because they won the division. They won that game and they went on the road, and it did not go well. So let's just talk about their biggest weakness. The offensive line was bad last year, and it's still bad. I hope it's better for their sake. I don't necessarily think it's improved at all. Certain positions might be better, others not so much, because they traded away Laramie Tunsil. He is one of the best pass-blocking left tackles in the NFL. And the rumor was he's just a bad locker room guy. It's the second time he's been traded. Really good left tackles don't get traded twice. So there is some issue there. Trade him to Washington. They signed Cam Robinson, who's average at best left tackle, played for the Jaguars and Vikings. 1-year deal. Basically, just hope he plays okay, and then we'll figure it out the next year. And they also lost Stephon Diggs in free agency to the Patriots. Another guy that's been rumored to not be the best teammate in the locker room. You can Google if you want to learn more about both Tunsil and Diggs. It just seems like the Texans' goal was to improve the locker room. Maybe it was an issue last year. I wasn't in the locker room. I don't know that. They traded for Christian Kirk. I would not have done this. He was injured a lot last year. He's way overpaid. He had some good years in the league, but he's a number 2 at best. Probably at this point, number 3 receiver on your team. But I think they really wanted a veteran opposite Nico Collins with Tank Dell. Who knows if he's ever going to be healthy. They added guards, Laken Tomlinson and Ed Ingram. Tomlinson used to be a good guard. Not great. Ingram was not good for the Vikings last year, especially down the stretch. Just ask Sam Darnold, ask Vikings fans. It did not go well. But they needed some depth at guard. The offensive line's just not good. It wasn't good last year, and you take away Tunsil. We'll talk about a draft pick that might help in a second. They also added C.J. Gardner-Johnson to play safety. They already had a good safety group. Goes along with Jalen Petrie, Jimmy Ward, Kalen Bullock. One of those guys is probably going to play slot corner, but a really deep, really good safety group. One of the strengths of their team to go with pass rush. More on that in a second. Their draft, they traded back from pick 25 to 34 in the second round. I like moving back, but you needed to get more. All they got from the Giants was pick 99, late third-round pick this year, and a third-rounder next year. That is not enough to move out of the first round because you no longer have the fifth-year option, and the Giants were moving up for a quarterback, and usually teams give up more for a quarterback. Oh, almost forgot this. The next pick, the Rams traded from 26 to 46 and got the Falcons' first-rounder next year. So very likely the Texans got that same offer. Maybe they didn't want to move down to 46, but there really wasn't much difference between 34 and 46. So really shocking that's all they got. I would have asked for pick 65 in the Giants and a second rounder next year. But you had to get at least 65 in a third rounder or 99 in a second rounder next year. But they didn't. That's the disappointing thing about the trade back. I did like their first 3 picks on day 2, though. They got both the receivers from Iowa State, Jaden Higgins and Jalen Noel. It's funny about Jaden Higgins is his comp was Nico Collins. Tall, fast, good hands. So they have 2 receivers like that. And then Jalen Noel, really good slot receiver. I was high on him than most. I thought he should go somewhere in the second round. They get him late third. So really good pick there. I will link my video in one of these boxes. I did a draft breakdown of both players on the same video because they both went to Iowa State. And then Ariante Ursary, they got the offensive tackle from Minnesota. He was rumored to be a first-round pick sometime around the middle of the college season. There are rumors that he might not be the hardest worker, and he doesn't really bend well for a tackle, but the talent's there. He's a good athlete. He possibly is their future left tackle. Maybe their future right tackle, because you can't play Blake Fisher, their second-round pick from last year. You just can't. It was bad. Maybe he'll improve, but you can't play him. So I really like those picks. I still don't think their offensive line is going to be very good. If it is, if it improves a lot, then they're a contender. If not, they're still probably the favorite to win the division, get a Saturday home game, maybe win a game, and that's it. It would be hilarious if they go 10-7 again, win one playoff game at home, and then lose the next, and pick 25 again. But undrafted free agent, Austin Brinkman, long snapper, West Virginia. Yes, a long snapper. He was rumored to be one of the better long snappers available. I wanted my Packers to sign him, so maybe they got the best long snapper in the draft. Who knows? Important players. C.J. Stroud, the quarterback, obviously. He had one of the best rookie seasons quarterbacks ever had. He regressed last year, and watching him on film, it just seems like he lost confidence because the offensive line was so bad. He had pressure in his face. Same thing happened to Jordan Love. Too much pressure, and it's tough to play quarterback when your offensive line is poor. Nico Collins, we just talked about him, 6'4", one of the best receivers in the NFL. Joe Mixon, still a very good running back. Titus Howard, very important player because he's now their best offensive lineman. He's good, not great. He can play right tackle, can play left guard. I think his best position is left guard, but he might have to play right tackle if Ursari's not ready because, once again, you can't play Blake Fisher at right tackle. Blake Fisher was a second-round pick at Notre Dame. Probably should have stayed another year in college. Good athlete, just not a good football player at this point. So Howard can play tackle, can play left guard. On defense, Derek Stingley Jr., one of the best corners in the NFL. And then they have two really good pass rushers, Will Anderson Jr. and Danielle Hunter. It's strange, a man named Danielle. I never hear anyone talk about that, but Danielle Hunter. But he's the veteran. He's been good really since he came into the league with the Vikings. So that's one of their biggest strengths. One of their biggest weaknesses is defensive tackle. Interior defensive line. Sheldon Rankins, D'Amico Autry, I guess, are their starters. They have Mario Edwards as well. That's just not a great group. I'm surprised they did not take a defensive tackle, one of their first 4 or 5 picks, because that was the strength of the draft, interior defensive line. But maybe the board didn't fall that way. I still like their draft, just surprised they didn't go defensive tackle earlier. So their biggest weaknesses are offensive line and interior defensive line. Not the greatest weaknesses to have. It's a strength for the Eagles. They won the Super Bowl. So if they don't contend, it's probably because of both lines. Breakout player, Kamari Lassiter, cornerback, Georgia. He had a kind of an up and down year. I saw him get beat some, but more positive than negative. For a rookie corner, did very well. If he takes the next step, that could be one of the best corner duos in the NFL. One of the best secondaries, because we know they have good safeties. So I'm going to go with Kamari Lassiter as the breakout player. So comment down below. Do you think the Texans are going to win the division, go 10-7, win that first home playoff game, and then lose the next week? That's what they've done the last 2 years. If you have not subscribed, please do so now. Enable alerts so you never miss a video. If you enjoyed this, please give a thumbs up. Really helps out the channel. Share this with anyone who loves football as we continue to grow Football with Cheese. Check these out if you have not, and I will see you in the next video all about the Jaguars.